What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about the top 5 short squeeze stocks to add to your watch list going into this upcoming week. So I'm going to go over all the things that you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So starting off with data points, we have a hell of a lot of Fed speakers throughout the week. So that could cause some volatility. Aside from that, it is money supply. So that's coming out on Tuesday. I feel like normally that's not something that the market cares about, but I feel like this time around, given the circumstances, Wall Street is really going to be paying attention to that one. So just kind of keep that in mind. But aside from the data points, it is going to be tariffs, kind of the whole trade war with China. And if there is some kind of resolution to that, you're going to see stocks go up like crazy. A lot of the stocks I've already selected have some pre-existing good momentum, so they should go up regardless. But if there is that tariff kind of resolution with China, then this is where you'll see a lot of squeezes. But with that said, let's get right to it. So stock number 5, you too have Motorsports Game or Motorsport Games. Ticker is MSGM. On Thursday, did go up 145.54%. Over the last 5 days, though, up 223%, getting a lot of volume. So something to kind of take note from that. This is what they do. So interactive home entertainment, 31 employees, founded in 2018, based out of good old Miami. So feel free to pause that and go through it if necessary. But we are here because of this. So as I've explained in previous videos, I don't just choose the most heavily shorted stocks. I choose ones that have some pre-existing good momentum based on the stock price, still a fair amount of shorts, and just everything else put together does make for a good squeeze candidate. So 14.51% of the free float is being shorted, works out to be 230,000 shares. So this is kind of what the market does like to squeeze, somewhat heavily shorted and low float. And despite everything, obviously with the stock price going up 200 and something percent over the last 5 days, you have seen shorts really double down. So they are being very active, again, possibly overextending themselves. And if we do have that resolution on a macro standpoint from tariffs, then this is where this stock will go up like crazy. There's a lot of other data points up top here that I'm not necessarily going to go over, but short score is 79.28. So the higher the number, the higher the likelihood of a squeeze happening. And there is only 2,000 shares available to be shorted. So reason why I bring that up is if there is a lot of stocks that have low limited supply, you could see a lot of big names go out and buy that. So again, that is something to keep in mind. So this is stock number 5. Moving on to stock number 4, Portage Biotech, ticker is PRTG, sitting at $7.84 on Thursday, did go up 16.15%. Over the last 1 year, it is up 77.22, and then over the last 5 days, it is down. But again, I think on Thursday started to regain some of that lost traction. This is what they do. Biotech, 7 employees, based out of the British Virgin Islands. But we're here because of this. So 21.35% of the free floats being shorted, works out to be 172,000 shares. So again, what the market likes to kind of squeeze, if that makes sense. So heavily shorted, low float. Short score is 80.19. And then through IBKR does indicate a lonely 300 shares available. And through IBKR, they do charge 561.59%. And on a side note, that is an annual rate, not a daily rate. So kind of keep that in mind. But this stock definitely should see some buying coming from big money this upcoming week. One thing I do want to pay attention to and kind of show you is just looking here. The shares on loan is roughly 83,000. But 172,000 shares is being shorted. So very clear indication that there is some naked shorting happening with this, because the math doesn't add up, of course, right? There's more shares being shorted than on loan. So again, something to keep in mind. Moving on to stock number 3, you have Hertz. Did go up 44.31% on Thursday. Over the last 1 year, up 28.95%, and then over the last 5 days, up 107.45%. This is what they do. So passenger ground transportation and blah, blah, blah. I'm pretty sure a lot of people know what Hertz does, but 44.6% of the free float is being shorted, works out to be 53.47 million shares. So it recently started to gain some traction, and I think that's just more investors getting in, notable ones as well. But shorts have really doubled down, so they do not feel that the recent price action is justified. So they went from roughly 38% short interest to where it is now at 44.6. So they are doubling down, something to keep in mind. Short score is 80.33, and then through IBKR does indicate 25,000 shares available to be shorted. Cost to borrow, on a side note, is 8.92. Right here, it doesn't show the cost to borrow average currently because I think Ortex is somewhat screwed up behind the scenes because of Friday being a holiday, so it didn't really show any active cost to borrows, if that kind of makes sense. So nonetheless, Hertz is stock number 3 that you need to add to your watch list. So a lot of these, like I already said, have some good pre-existing momentum and should continue itself, not even factoring in a squeeze. But stock number 2, ticker is MTSR, sitting at 1957, up 11.51 on Friday, and then, or on the Thursday, and over the last 5 days, up 1.69%. So definitely gaining some pretty good traction from what it has over the last 1 month. But this is what they do. Company profile. So biotechs, 78 employees, founded in 2022, based out of good old New York. But 13.9% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 8.34 million shares. Short score is 82.17. So definitely it meets that criteria again. One thing to take note of though is because of the recent price action and it appreciating, you can kind of see just shorts have really doubled down. It went from 0.19% in February to 13.9 currently. So shorts definitely doubling down with this, and it doesn't look like any available shares are, that data is available right now. But nonetheless, this is stock number 2 that you need to add to your watch list. And then last but not least, stock number 1 is this. Ticker is CHRS, sitting at $12. Did go up roughly 11% on Thursday. Over the last 1 year, though, it is down 47.91%, and then over the last 5 days, up 24.83. So starting to build some good traction, getting some abnormal volume, so kind of shows that big money is paying attention to it in some capacity. But this is what they do. Quite extensive for a profile, but biotech, 228 employees, founded in 2010, based out of good old Redwood City. But we are here because of this. So 28.87% of the free floats being shorted, works out to be 32.39 million shares. Short score 84.8. Again, higher the number, higher likelihood of a squeeze happening. Shorts oddly haven't really been doing that much with this stock, kind of range bound between, looks like the 27 and 31% range for the last 6+ months. So they're probably waiting for something to occur on a macro standpoint to really either pull back or double down, or maybe specific to the company, something just to kind of keep in mind. DTC though, that's something that I haven't really been bringing up, but higher the number, the higher the potential of a squeeze. So that does show the average volume in comparison to what is being shorted. So 16.02 days is huge. So again, something just to kind of keep in mind. But through IBKR does indicate 300,000 shares that's available to be shorted at a price of 0.67. So most likely in this case, you won't be seeing any buying coming from big entities and stuff like that. So let me know your general thoughts on these stocks. Is there any other squeeze plays that you feel is going to have its time in the sun this week? And so if so, throw some tickers in the description below and also the comments. Hopefully everyone had a good long weekend. One final thing, pop over to my Patreon and give buy signals on stocks, options, crypto, many of which have been absolutely on point. So definitely worthwhile to pop over there and take a look. With all that, appreciate all of you watching.